Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to KongaCast, where we discuss all things video games, especially relating to Nintendo. I am your host, Ryan, and I'm joined today by my co host, Adonis. Say hello, Adonis.
Hello, Adonis. That's what you get for doing it to me for 2 weeks in a row. How's everybody doing? Good to see you. We're back, ready to talk about some freaking video games.
Let's do it, man. So, we are, as of recording, we are, what, 3 days away from Switch 2 release? So, if you're
God.
listening to this, the Switch 2 is already out, which is so exciting. There has been like a plethora of small little bits of news, nothing that we're going to cover on today's show, but I mean, it's all out there, man. Every day there's new stuff popping up. But why don't we get into today's episode, Adonis? So we have Elden Ring Nightreign, we have Apple acquiring a gaming studio, and we got our June backlog game recommendations on the ticket. So if you're listening, make sure to listen all the way through and stick around to hear everything we have to say. So
Hmm.
let's get to our first topic, Adonis. Elden Ring Nightreign has released, and the Metacritic score I think is sitting around like the 76 to 79 range,
Right.
which is not a bad game by any means. But I think from software standards, people are a little surprised, and there seems to be a little bit going back and forth in the community on is this a good game or not. So Adonis, I will pivot to you as the Souls expert of the two. What is going on with this release?
I think this is one of the most, if not the most interesting release of From Software history. This game is marketed as an experimental spin-off, which I think From Software has earned the right to be able to do what the heck they want with all the amazing games they've delivered us. So to me, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Do this, do Dust Bloods, do whatever you guys want before your next major game. Experiment, have fun, let some new directors make games. Like I at the very beginning of this, I loved the idea of these games. I don't necessarily love the style of these games. I'm not huge into these genres, but um I think that a lot of people are, and that's kind of why they chose them. And the marketing leading up to the release of Night Rain was pretty cool. They were revealing like each character as the months went on, and showing more of the bosses. It was advertised as having old Dark Souls bosses, which is just always a win. They're amazing. And they're just pulling from their massive catalog of assets that they've made over the years, which I think is okay. I think that's okay, especially if you want to experiment with a new genre and online capability and online only games, which From Software I don't think really has ever done. And now it's released. Now we know what it's like. The game is flawed, 100%. So if for anybody to know, it's an action RPG roguelike. I'm probably missing some bits there, but it's basically set in the world of Limveld. It's like a alternate version of Limgrave, the starter area of Elden Ring. Very much so adjacent. It's like a spin-off unit. It's like a alternate universe kind of deal, where you start off with a few pre-made characters. There's three people on a run. You can choose a character. You run around, defeat bosses that are randomized. There's a circle that closes in on the area, and you fight a boss at the very end of 3 days. So you got to beat a boss at day one, then day two, and then day three. Day three is the big bad Night Lord boss, which you can choose from at the beginning of the game, uh, and kind of like queue with other players. And you get randomized loot, which is also very new for From Software. Totally randomized loot with a rarity system, blue, purple, orange, like very common in the industry. Uh, and people are a bit mixed. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the score is on Steam right now. Is people are mixed. I fully expected this, right? Because not everybody loves it, but everybody loves it. Not everybody. A lot of people love Elden Ring, so naturally, people are going to come from there to this. Which, so let's talk about the first flaw. The first flaw, barely any single player. Technically, there is a single
Mm,
player, but it's not balanced for it, and it's ridiculously hard, which I thought would be warranted considering it's a From Software game. Neither here nor there, but not a single player mode. Which, coming from Elden Ring, that's a single player game, and people realize that once they get Night Rain, and they're disappointed. I guess that's kind of like that kind of makes sense, right? Because this is a single player base, usually when From Software. And the joke right now is at the beginning of Elden Ring, there's a character that calls you maidenless because you need a maiden to be able to level up. That's part of the story. Um, Now, From Software is calling you friendless in this game, which I thought was hilarious. That is kind of funny. But you like basically need friends to play this game, or you're random queuing, which can be difficult. Second flaw leads us right into the second flaw. No communication other than a ping system. That's a problem. That's a really, really big problem. If you're not communicating with other people via voice chat, you can't connect. You cannot effectively communicate with your random solo queue players other than with a ping, which I guess a ping, you can do a lot with a ping, but there needs to be more of a communication system. That is a very valid criticism. Probably the most valid criticism, barring the next one. I think they need to be able to, they as in the player, needs to be able to communicate. I'm in trouble. I need help. Or look at this. Like I found loot over here. Um, my ult is ready, stuff like that. Things that you have in a normal co-op game. Criticism number 3. The game lacks randomization. I think this is also a very valid criticism. This is a roguelike. You need
Yeah, that's odd.
adequate randomization. Yeah, exactly, right? I don't think they 100% nailed it. Um, they know about all this too. Like this is loud criticism. Like the player base is being very vocal about it, and they've also already acknowledged it in patch notes or developer notes, which is really cool. But um, people are just getting the same bosses too much, not getting the Dark Souls bosses enough. Maybe that should be a more rare thing, which I get, but like some people say they're almost never seeing them and they're seeing the same bosses and the map doesn't really change much in between runs. Those are all big problems that need to be fixed for a successful roguelike. Um, so yeah, and loot very samey. Doesn't feel like it changes much. Actually, this is the next criticism. So criticism number 4, I guess. The loot that you get doesn't change your run very much, which makes the replayability a little stale. You
Hmm.
need to have meaningful changes to the gameplay in a roguelike. Um, and I think that's easily changed. They've already confirmed DLC is coming, regular updates will be coming. So, you know, that I think they will get on top of this, and I think they'll get on top of all of the things that I've talked about up to this point. This is From Software we're talking about. This ain't no, new boy on the block. This is probably one of the best game studios in the world of all time. In my opinion, that is my opinion. The good things that I really like about this game is that it launched and it worked. There was
A big
no
ask
game.
nowadays.
Yes, it sure is. There were some frame stuttering, but they really did ship a product that works on launch. Say whatever you will about the game worked. I just played Doom the Dark Ages, and there was a story stopping bug on early access.
Brutal.
That's Doom. Think about worse studios than id Software, or sorry, not that's a bit harsh. Think about lesser developed studios than id Software and all the games that have released up to this point. So many of them are broken. Even Monster Hunter Wilds had worse problems um, on release. Elden Ring Nightreign did not have any of those, and I think the game is a really, really great step in a different direction for From Software. This is a great start for them, and I know they're going to develop it to make it good. But the thing I really wanted to talk about with Nightreign specifically is to tell the player base and the community to calm down, relax. I Before recording this episode, I saw a Reddit post that equated the quality of this game to Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Oh, come on. That's
I
that's
know.
pretty that's pretty unfair.
I think that the expectations for this game were astronomically high because of Elden Ring. And if you think that it was going to come anywhere near that, you're an idiot. They literally told us this is experimental. We want feedback so that we can improve our future games. Give them the feedback, and not only will their games in the future get better, this one will get better as well, as in Night Rain.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of vitriol coming from the community that this isn't an Elden Ring 2, you know, and it doesn't necessarily stack up to other games in the genre, which is okay. But I think $40 was a little high for a lot of people. This probably should have been like a $20 or $30 game, you know, with all of the flaws that I had mentioned. But if they fix all of those things, I think this game is in a really good spot. So I realize that was a lot. I just explained. So curious to know what you think of the whole situation.
Yeah. So first of all, like I think I'm kind of in the boat with you that like I don't think I was expecting this to be like a 90 to 95 or plus rated game, right, on Metacritic. This is kind of like right in line with probably what I was expecting, just as more of an outsider to the franchise. And for all the reasons you listed, it's more experimental, it's lower budget, it's reflected in the price that it's a lower budget game. And like for those reasons, I think it's pretty warranted that it's like a not as reviewed as highly. But that's not to say this is a bad game. I mean, I think anything that gets a that's holding a 79 on Metacritic at face value, probably a good game, right? Maybe depending on personal taste or whatever. But yeah, I think the expectations are just so high for From Software nowadays that like anything that's not like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 is just like a terrible, terrible catastrophe. But I think as people that are super into gaming and that are on gaming subreddits on the internet for gaming are vocal about what they like and don't like, right?
Sure are.
And I think that is probably like a lot of what's going around right now is like these are just the most ravenous, uh, passionate fans. And I don't say
Yeah,
ravenous in like a degrading way. I just mean like they're crazy passionate, you know what I
it's
mean?
true. Like I'm that way too.
So yeah. So I think when you get that, it's like what's been happening with the Switch 2 launch all up to this point. When you get that, you get the most vocal, passionate fan base. If there's anything wrong with whatever they're getting excited about, then it's the worst thing in the world, you know? And that's just, I don't know, that's just the cycle of how people consume media nowadays. I don't know if it's like internet culture or maybe we've always been like this as humans. I don't know. But not to get too deep into that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, some of the things I was reading, it feels like it's correctable. Some of the complaints, no crossplay. That seems like a huge miss in
Right.
like 2025 for launch.
Hmm.
Like if you're making a multiplayer centric roguelike game, crossplay is pretty necessary. Especially when you're a studio like From Software. You have a lot of people on PC, but you have a lot of people on console too. It's a pretty divided fan base, divided, playing fan base. So
Hmm.
that seems like a miss. I totally understand that. Another complaint I was seeing was that people were complaining there's no two-player mode. There is a one-player mode and a three-player
Yeah.
mode, but there's no two-player mode, which again seems silly. But that is something they would be able to patch in if given a little bit more time. So like those two things are two big complaints I've been seeing going around relating this game, and thankfully those are things that could be patched in down the line. Not to excuse the launch because sure you want those things at launch, but I think if this game is able to get enough legs under its feet, enough people still playing it. From Software will do good by them and update this game to add those two features and maybe to your comments, maybe add a little more variety in the loot, maybe balance out some things, other things that people have complaints about as of now.
Yeah, 100%. From Software knows what we want, and I'm every single decision that they have made up to this point leads me to believe that they will fix it. And not only will they fix it, they will use that philosophy in their future games. They have done nothing, not a single thing to me as a fan of From Software that leads me to believe that they're just going to leave this and walk away. They
Yeah, they
literally,
deserve the benefit of the doubt.
yeah, exactly. I'm giving that to them handily. Like, and they've already proven the doubters wrong by providing an update already. In fact, an update has already shipped that I don't know what the update fixed. I haven't looked at it yet. I haven't even really played it actually. I've only been seeing it secondhand. Um, I'm just waiting until some more issues are fixed until I really want to start putting some time into this game. So yeah, I think this is a great step for them. Not a great step, a good step. Things that they need to adjust for sure. Um, but also the best thing about this game to me, as an outsider who has not actually purchased it yet, the cosmetics are non-purchasable. They are only purchasable by playing the game. You cannot buy premium currency in Elden Ring Nightreign. That is
Good.
something that you have never been able to do in a From Software game. Think about any other studio where you can say that for. I'll wait.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, pretty good, but needs some work.
Yeah, it needs some work, but also credit to From Software going a little bit more outside their comfort zone. I don't want to be like, oh man, they did such a great job when it's like, a little bit of a middling game. But I do think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. They've shown they, support their games post launch, that kind of stuff. So I am giving them the benefit of the doubt in this instance. So, but pretty
Yeah,
interesting
100%.
release. It's got people talking for sure.
Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it until I actually get my hands on the game, which is probably sooner rather than later. My willpower lessens which with each passing moment. So yeah, I think we should talk about our next one because this one is this one caught me by surprise. You want to break it down?
Sure thing. So we have a report that Apple has bought its first ever gaming studio. So the name of this gaming studio is Rack 7. It is two guys in Canada who make a couple of games for Apple Arcade. Most notably, they have made the game called Sneaky Sasquatch. Now, this is a game I had never heard about until this
Yeah.
moment because I'm just so outside of the Apple Arcade ecosystem. But apparently, this is one of the best games on Apple Arcade. In 2020, it actually won Apple Arcade's Game of the Year or App of the Year, whatever they label it. And even today in 2025, it's still one of the top charting games on Apple Arcade. So I was surprised. So I guess my surprise really came from Apple is buying a studio, and I was like, okay, what's the deal with that? But then it's like, oh, they actually just like bought the studio behind one of the best games on their service because I'm just so out of the loop. I had just no idea what that game would be.
Me too.
But kind of an interesting little thing here. So Apple buying their first ever gaming studio. Maybe we just start with that and like what the implications of that would be.
Yeah, and like for me, being so outside the sphere as well, it's really hard to like gauge the splash here. Um,
Hmm.
but I know that Apple has never done anything like this, as far as I know. And the fact that they're hiring such a small studio, which I mean, like you said it's two guys,
Yeah.
which that to me is awesome. I really, really, really like that. I wish this would happen more often, because you don't have to have 300 people to make a good game. One guy made Animal Well. So I really love that they did that. And I think this for me is a big win for the indie developer scene. Technically, this is not true indie because there's two guys. Um, is that is that Dewey? I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Um, there's two people. So, pretty indie. I think this is a big win for the indie scene. And mobile gaming is, in fact, massive. Way,
Hmm.
way, way bigger than I realized until I really dug into the numbers, which I don't have any off the top of my head, but I know how freaking massive the mobile gaming market is because a lot of people can't access games. It's a very expensive hobby, so they play on their phone, right? A lot of kids too, many, many, many millions of kids. So there's a lot of money to be made in this obviously, as we've seen, there's a lot of money to be made in this market. And I'm curious to know how much money Sneaky Sasquatch has made. I'm also curious to know how much the whole deal went down for.
Yeah.
Jumping around a bit here, but like to me, this is cool, and I'm curious to see where it goes and to learn more about whatever the heck the Apple Arcade is.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm mostly curious on is this more of a one-off thing or is this more of a sign of things to come with Apple? Obviously, they want Apple Arcade to be successful. I think when they launched it back in whatever it was, 2019, um, they've been catering to different publishers and different developers to bring their games to Apple Arcade. I mean, there's like some good stuff on Apple Arcade, there's like an exclusive Sonic game that people love. Random stuff like that you might not expect. So to me, if it's a one-off, maybe they just acquire a studio like Rack 7 just to help partner with them on Sneaky Sasquatch. Like, hey, we know you're still passionate about your game. We're going to help you take it to the next level. We want it to still be on Apple Arcade and still be relevant. We want to help you add content. It could be that. If it is more of a broader strategy to start to acquire studios to stay exclusive to Apple Arcade or develop on the Apple Arcade, that's maybe where it gets a little more interesting, right? Like, is Apple going to target other smaller studios like this in an effort to help them grow their games on Apple Arcade? We would have to wait and see. I think by the tone of the announcement, it does seem more one-offish in nature. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, this is Apple, and this is their first ever studio acquisition. So it's still noteworthy, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, Apple's in the gaming market now, which they had never have been before. And Apple has a lot of capital to play with. So they could ball out on something else, but it seems as though, and if it is a one-off thing, like those two guys, like they did it. Like they made it. They obviously their game is very successful, but they just got signed by the company that they're this whose platform they're making a game for, which like I'm so freaking happy for those guys. Like they earned this. And I want to see more of this happen in the future. And this is happening at a time where like layoffs are like plaguing the industry, the gaming industry as a whole. And to see some two guys like get hired by a massive company like this is a big win. That's really all this boils down for, because I don't know anything about Sneaky Sasquatch. I don't know anything about the Apple Arcade. Um, but yeah, but it really should be noted that I don't think this will be a one-time thing for Apple. I think what they're going to try and do is put together a bigger studio and try to break into making good games, good and cheap games. That's what I think they should do. I don't know if they'll actually do that, but probably will be the case because of their not tendency, but their their mobile market. Like they're in the business of mobile games, so they'll probably make something
Yeah.
really cheap that makes a whole lot of money. So yeah, this is really interesting. This came out of nowhere, like absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere for sure. I think the way Apple's positioning themselves, they probably want to be more like Steam than a traditional developer, right? They want to own the storefront. They want to have a storefront that's so popular, people want to put their games on it, and Apple takes whatever 20%, 30% of the game because they're the service provider. You know, they're providing the storefront for all of these developers. That's clearly, to me, how they want to position themselves. I don't think they want to get in the risky business of actually game development and game publishing. So again, it kind of the tone of the article as well, like leads me to believe this is more one-offish in nature. But it'd be super interesting if they continue down this track and like gobble up more smaller studios to, you know, again help these developers like develop their games even further on Apple Arcade. Once they're successful, how do we take it to the next level? That kind of thing. So, but I
Yeah.
think pretty noteworthy. Unless you had something else to say, I think we may as well move on to our next topic. What do you say?
Well, hold on one second. I need to just make
Okay.
sure, Apple, if you're listening, what you don't want to do is hire a bunch of guys, bunch of devs, tell them how to make games, drop 400 million on said game, fail to market said game, release game, it makes no money, and then you
Close
fire all the
studio.
devs. You don't want to do
Don't
that.
pull a
So,
Concord.
name dropped. Oh, hey, he
It's
said
so
it, wasn't me.
it's so easy on paper, but don't do it. Don't pull a Concord. Uh, Hopefully we're
It is.
very far away from that. I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe.
Sorry, I just had to bring a bit of a droop on this episode. We were too positive up to this point. So yeah, let's talk about backlog. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. So June backlog game recommendation. Before we get to that, quick update on my May game recommendation. So I am so sorry to all the beautiful listeners out there. Adonis, I am so sorry. I still have not completed Half-Life 2, and I've made some decent progress in Endless Ocean, but I still want to keep going in that. So I have not completed either of my May games, with Half-Life being my March game. So I'm very behind, but I have
It's
real
okay.
life excuses. That is what I can fall back on. Real life excuses. Real world came up a lot in May, which is cool. That's fine. So that's where I'm at with my May game updates. Adonis, you want to give an update on your May game before we talk about June?
Yeah, and it's totally okay. In my book, like you don't have to finish these games. Like if you play them
Me
and enjoy
neither.
them, that's it. Like that's all I really want out of this. Like I know you're a completionist, like you want to beat the game, but for me, uh, you know, don't sweat it,
Well, I want
right?
to I want to beat the games that I like. I certainly won't force myself based off this segment. We have to beat games, but I do like both the games I'm playing right now, so I got to beat them.
That's good. And for me, like your sorry is misplaced because I have not even played the game that you assigned me because I've been waiting for our rainy day. And to be honest with you, today is one of those days. Today has been brutal. I guess to not go too deep into it, like when I woke up, my coffee maker is broken. I'm like, all right, whatever. It made a crappy coffee, but I still got coffee. Then I go and grab an egg from the kitchen, from the refrigerator, and I crack it and spill it all over the fridge. And I'm like, crap. So that made me late for work. When I do get to work, I'm a personal like a fitness coach and a nutrition coach at my job, and I have appointments, two of which just no showed, absolutely no showed. Which it is what it is. It's just the business. The third appointment, I screwed up. I heard my coworker say something that I interpreted as my appointment's not coming, so I canceled it, left the gym, and then they came in for the appointment, which that sucked too. And I get home and I'm just going through it. Right, it's just one of those days where like you
Hmm.
can't really do anything right, except for this. This has been a big mood lift for me. And immediately after I get done this, I'm gonna play that game, and I don't have much time left in it. It's a shorter game, but it doesn't have to be long, and it doesn't have to be infinitely replayable to be a memorable experience. And I know by the end of this one, like I'm gonna be a positively emotional mess. So I'm totally gonna be hitting this one like as soon as we get off the call. So looking forward to that, and looking even more forward to what you have in store for me and what I have in store for you. Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first. So once you're done playing a short hike, which is a nice, peaceful game, you're on an island. You're playing as a colorful bird, right? You're just living life on an island.
Right.
Right after that, you're gonna play some Left 4 Dead. All right, you're gonna shoot some zombies. So I don't know if you've completed this game before, but I was checking out your Steam. It looked like you only had about 2 hours played, which to me meant you probably had a little bit more to do. So I want you to give Left 4 Dead another shot. I had some good memories playing this back in the day with my cousins, back when we were probably way too young to be playing a game like this. So
True.
that's your June game recommendation.
So I actually have. Well, it's a little bit of a weird situation because Left 4 Dead 2, everything from Left 4 Dead 1 was ported into Left 4 Dead 2. Like they functionally
Oh.
remade Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2, and I am so okay with replaying the entire game again. Like this is a wonderful excuse to do that. I usually wait till Halloween, but I feel like it's been too long. I literally played it last Halloween. Um, it's like I accept. I happily
Okay.
accept. In fact, if you have it on your library, which is like usually like $2 on sale, I would love to play that with you, my friend. It wouldn't take very long at all. Not with this guy. I am an FPS master. I'm like
Heck yeah.
so down.
If I see it on sale, because I know it goes on sale for like 99 cents, like you're saying. So if
Yeah.
I see it on sale, I will join you. But I'm not gonna pay full price because
No,
I'm a cheap guy.
don't do that. It will go on sale immediately. So I guess that leads us to yours, doesn't it?
Sure does. Let's hear it.
Okay. This game is amazing. And you and I have played it together, but not this version. We played the new version. Probably the most competitive, rage-inducing game of all time, in my opinion. Mario Superstar Baseball, baby. I want you to get in
Yes.
there. I want you to beat all the NPCs. I want them to beat you and you to get really angry at them and just have a great time. In fact, wait, I guess so. Are you able to play this on a GameCube or is this an emulator sort of situation?
I have it. Yeah, I have it physical, so I can play it on my Wii. That's how I was probably
Ooh.
planning on playing it once I got around to it.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Highly recommend getting the wife in on this one. What could go wrong? That I
Yeah, dude.
think is an amazing, probably my favorite. Like the Mario baseball games are my favorite Mario like couch co-op games of all time. That's
Yeah.
including, well, maybe Mario Kart, maybe not as much as Mario Kart, but like I adore this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So Sluggers on the Wii is my favorite Wii game, bar none. I think right behind that, Wii Sports Resort and some other games that are, iconic for the Wii. But Sluggers on the Wii, man, I grew up on that game. I recently got the GameCube version, maybe in the last couple of years for a pretty reasonable price. So I was like, yeah, why not? GameCube games are pretty expensive, so I was happy to get it at some good value. And I only played maybe like 10 or 15 minutes of it, and I've been meaning to go back to it. So I'm glad you recommended this to me because I love Sluggers on the Wii, so I'm gonna love Mario Baseball on GameCube, dude. So great recommendation. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm curious. How much did you pay, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a bit ago, and I got it in a bundle of other GameCube games. So I would need to I guess I would need to say for the entire bundle, which was maybe, gosh, I don't remember, 5 or 6 games. I paid a
Mhm.
couple hundred, but then if you divide it out, like it was like Mario Baseball was like 20 to $20 or something.
That's actually lower than I thought you were gonna say. Like especially for like a good. I mean, you probably got the benefit of getting like a multiple games in one pack,
Yeah.
which was smart. Smart man. They ain't going for that cheap nowadays. That's for sure. So yeah, this is gonna be a good week for or a good month. This is gonna be a good month for us.
Yes, sir, dude. Great recommendation. I appreciate that. Do you have anything else before we move on to what we've been playing recently?
Nah, let's get right into that. That's my favorite part of the show. Let's do it.
All right, man, let's do it. So I have a couple quick hitters for some Switch local multiplayer games. So over the weekend, I saw my two cousins, and my brother, and we were doing other stuff. We were playing outside, all that good stuff. But at night, we did play some video games, as is par course. Whenever we get together, we're always playing video games.
It makes my heart happy.
So I played a little bit of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I played a little bit of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe because they have some fun mini games in that game that I was happy to try out with my cousins and my brother. Then I also played a little bit of Ultimate Chicken Horse and Boomerang Fu. And I haven't done a lot of Ultimate Chicken Horse, but I was enjoying it. It's a little rage inducing how bad the physics are. But it's one of those games. It's like the physics are bad on purpose, and then it kind of like adds to the experience. So yeah, I had a little bit of a smattering of local multiplayer games, and I enjoyed it.
What the hell is Ultimate Chicken Horse?
Oh, okay. Have you not heard of it? So
No.
what this game is, it's literally like a platformer. You go from point A to point B. All four of you play at once, and whoever gets the goal first gets a bonus. But really, your objective is just to get to the goal. The catch is every time you run multiple rounds until there's a winner. The catch is after every round, every person gets an opportunity to place an obstacle. Maybe you place stairs, maybe you place a wooden plank, or maybe you
Right.
place a trap like a saw that's going to cut you, or a bowling ball that's going to like knock you around, whatever. And so what you get to do is you want to like try to make uh the obstacle course like not easy enough to the point where everyone's finishing, otherwise no one gets points. But you want to make it hard enough that you're still able to finish while other people are not finishing the obstacle course. So it's kind of like a give and take that's like a lot of fun. And like I said, the physics are just rage inducing. I just felt like I was missing jumps for no reason. But I guess it's kind of part of the experience.
This sounds like the worst kind of game to play against you. It sounds the worst. Just this guy, let me tell you, our dear listeners, this guy is a demon in disguise when playing competitive games. He's the reason why I'm so good at games, is because I have to be on par with him and the rest of our friends. If you're listening, you know it's like ridiculous how competitive
Yeah,
this, and it's probably because of your brothers, right? Like you grew up with
yeah,
an older brother and a younger brother,
yeah, for
so
sure. And also in this game, you could be a real troll. Like I was just placing traps right at the finish line. You know, like just like so you have no way of finishing now. It's just like
the
fun stuff like
worst.
that. I love doing that.
You're the worst. You're just the worst. That sounds like fun, man. I'm really glad you got to see the fam. I miss them. If you guys listening, you rock. So that's awesome. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it really. I was just playing video games on Saturday. I don't think I was really doing much else this week.
That's super chill. Love that. You know, go hang out outside, come back in, play some video games. Like that makes my heart happy.
Yes,
So for
sir.
me, I have been playing only one game because as of
Helldivers
speaking
2.
today, correct. As of speaking today,
Yeah.
we have officially successfully defended Super Earth. We did it.
Heck yeah.
God bless Super Earth. Long live democracy. Uh, this video game event, I will remember this forever. I will never forget this whole event. Arrowhead hats, the fake non-existent hats off to you. You guys did amazing with this freaking event. Oh my god. Like from start to finish, this was just absolute video game cinema. I think this is going to be looked at back upon like by internet historians, gaming historians as like one of the most interesting video game events of all time. Cuz not only was it 100 to 200,000 people all playing the same game in the same spot, you know, on Super Earth, it was just like the vibe was awesome. Every time you joined a match, somebody was in the text chat or on the mic, just playing their hearts out, like, you know, taking care of each other. Like there was way more camaraderie than I have ever felt in a randomly queued video game, which you don't see nowadays. You literally don't. Like people are complaining about this in Nightreign. It's a co-op game. Like you just don't see it. And the storyline is like, first of all, they're making a movie of Helldivers 2, which like it already feels like a movie to begin with. So it makes total sense. Like up to this point, like when they first attacked, they being the Illuminate coming through the big black hole, they rolled through all of our planets and they rolled through all of our mega cities until there was two left. There's two cities left, including the like capital city of Super Earth. And they cranked up the difficulty to try and really push us through to get to the last city, and they couldn't. No matter what they did, they could not push the player base to defend the last city because we were just too strong. It was awesome. I was totally RPing as John Helldiver the whole time, just making crazy plays, jumping into enemy lines and shooting my heavy machine gun in all directions, throwing down a laser stratagem and running around it, and dying many times for Super Earth, of course. So it was all worth it.
Or Super Earth.
Yes, of course. And at the very end, I think last week when I talked about it, it was the literally the major order from Super Earth High Command was to hold Super Earth. And then the player base just like the player numbers shot up like crazy, like to 200K, and everybody just screaming for Super Earth. And like just one of the most interesting video game events I have ever taken part of, and I will remember this like for the rest of my life. And you know what's crazy is I did it solo. I played with a friend for
Yo.
like an hour, but I was playing on my own. Like I felt like I was playing like with friends by just randomly solo queuing. Like I've said this 100 times already, but you don't get that. You don't get that in any other video game. Period.
Nope.
There is not a single other video game where you feel that way. And I realized it was because this game has a soul. Like this is a very soulful video game that Arrowhead has put together, regardless of all the millions of things that have gone wrong with it, thanks to Sony and tech issues and balancing issues. Like it just doesn't matter because they don't give up. The devs just refuse to give up and made this game awesome. And I'm gonna keep playing it probably forever. Like it's man, what a blast it has been.
Dude, that's awesome. Love that everyone was able to defend Super Earth. I mean, if that fell, what are we even fighting for, man? That's the last stronghold. It sounds like so that would be horrible. So I'm so glad the Helldivers pulled through. That's
We don't got
fantastic
to
to
worry
hear.
about it. We don't got to worry about what would have happened because we did it. And in fact, after we won the major order, I immediately went to the automaton front, which is like where all the psychos go, and cranked up the difficulty. And just like it didn't even matter. They threw that those robots threw everything they had at me. Nothing could stop me. And it was really cool to see like going from the city, like modern, I almost said modern warfare, urban warfare, high difficulty to a non difficult mission and just slaying out. Like that was also really fun. And so like that's let me remind you that this whole event was one of the factions, enemy factions in the game. There are three who didn't even take place in this event. That's how much
Whoa.
potential Helldivers 2 has. If they just release the game in all those countries where you can't get it, that would be great, Sony. That would be great. I haven't forgot about that.
Yeah, good luck with that one, Adonis. I feel like they're probably a little dug in on that. So
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I got. I haven't been playing a single other game.
sweet, man. Well, that's kind of it for me too. Like I said, I was mainly just gaming on Saturday with the boys, but besides that, not too much this week. I had some real life stuff, but I think real life stuff about to slow down. Hopefully, perhaps. And Adonis, when I talk to you next time, we will have a lot of discussion about the Switch 2 release and all of the plethora of games that are releasing day one. So I'm excited to see that. I'm hoping I can get my hands on a console before our next episode, but I don't think I'll be able to. I think the stock is really going to be that hard to come by.
Mm-mm.
But we'll just have to wait and see, man. So I think
Yeah.
that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this edition of KongaCast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Music and follow the show to hear more. To stay up to date on the show, make sure to follow us on Twitter at KongaCast. For all business inquiries, please email kongacast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.